They have concluded all the closing arguments, written argument, and everything. Now we have to hear the dates in another few days now, or maybe weeks. The tribunal is going to announce the judgment day. You see all of this, expectation, hope, and all that. Blood go begin the rush again, Abi. But the day is going to come and gone. Until then, here is Koolu saying, I mean, you remember the red flag I told you? It's not going to be boring. No, it's not going to be boring. It's just going to be lying. And you're going to tell easily. But the first red flag is how they fast forwarded. And they make it look like it's just really like, you can tell. Like, number one, it didn't write it. Number two, it didn't dictate to those who write it. Number three, it doesn't even know everything inside it. Which means somebody wrote that and they gave to him and they edited the whole thing and they made him started sounding like a typewriter. But it's funny anyway. So don't expect anything much. Just laugh if you want to laugh. Or get angry. If now your own choice be that. Whatever you do, don't stand up. Please don't leave that seat. Koolu, ladies and gentlemen, your president.
My fellow citizens, I want to talk to you about our economy. It is important that you understand the reasons for the policy measures I've taken to combat the serious economic challenges this nation had long faced. I'm not going to talk in difficult terms by dwelling on economic jargon and concepts. I will speak in plain, clear language so that you know where I stand. More importantly, so that you see and hopefully will share my vision regarding the journey to a better, more productive economy for our beloved country. For several years, I have consistently maintained the position that the fuel subsidy had to go. This once beneficial measure had outlived its usefulness. The subsidy cost us trillions of naira yearly, such as a vast sum of money would have been better spent on public transportation, health care, school, housing, and even national security. Instead, it was being funneled into the deep pocket and lavish bank account of a selected group of individuals. This group had amassed so much wealth and power that they became a serious threat to the fairness of our economy and the integrity of our democratic governance. To be blunt, Nigeria could never become the society it was intended to be as long as such small, powerful, yet unelected groups hold enormous influence over our political economy and the institutions that govern it. The whims of the few should never hold dominant sway over the hopes and aspirations of the many. If we are to be a democracy, the people and not the power of money must be sovereign. The preceding administration saw this looming danger as well. Indeed, it made no provision in the 2023 appropriation for subsidy after June this year. Removal of this once helpful device that had transformed into a millstone around the country's neck had become inevitable. Also, the multiple exchange rate, the system that had been established became nothing but a highway of currency speculation. It diverted money that should have been used to create jobs, build factories, and businesses for millions of people. Our national wealth was doled out on favorable terms to a handful of people who had been made filthy rich simply by moving money from one hand to another. This too was extremely unfair and is not acceptable. It's also compounded the threat that the illicit and mass accumulation of money pose to the future of our democratic system and its economy. I had promised to reform.
I'm sorry, I know some of you will be like, it's boring. I told you, okay, he was going to lie. But he was talking about subsidy. He said he has always been in support of removal of subsidy because it's a waste. But you know that is a lie now. Have you forgotten 2012? Eh? Jonathan must go. 2012. It was organized by this guy and their progressive PC, Egbe, when they were ACN, I believe. Like, you never supported the removal. Okay, now I've supported the removal. Okay, now he's talking about some people who have been made filthy rich, that they are so rich, that they are security threats to Nigeria. But he failed to mention any name. Who are these guys? How come the president of Nigeria is so kind of a coward or so that he can't mention the name of those who have milked Nigerians? And they have pushed, he's putting the blame on the faceless, nameless oil marketers as the reasons why you are suffering. Because when he removed the subsidy, those people jacked up the price. Who are they? I mean, you know, go on, no, say who them be? And he's talking about them in lengthy written jargons. And he said, I'm not going to be involved in any economic jargons. Papa, you are saying jargons, man. You are not the leader of opposition party. You are supposed president of Nigeria. And you have people who have held Nigeria hostage. And Nigerians don't know their names. Because they know their names. For 8 years, when Bokwari started paying trillions to himself and his friends in NNPC and all that, they started jacking up the number of the millions of liters Nigerians actually uses to what they are paying subsidy on. But they were paying it to some people. Their names and all of that money, where they went, should be on the table of this guy. But they are his friends. So they are playing on your own intelligence. It can be annoying, not just boring. And I want you to get angry, not bored. Here is the continuation.
The elite of the elite,
at this point,
you might call them. As we move to fight the flaws in the economy, the people who grow rich from them predictably will fight back through every means necessary. But we are ready. Our economy is going through a tough patch, and you are being hurt by it, I know. The cost of fuel has gone up. Food and other prices have followed it. Households and businesses struggling. Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there's not. If there were, I would have taken that route, as I came here to help, not to hurt the people and the nation that I love so dearly. What I can offer in the immediate is to reduce the burden of current economic situation, which has imposed on all of us, most especially on businesses, the working class, and most vulnerable among us. Already, the federal government is working closely with states and local governments to implement interventions that will cushion the pains of our people across socio-economic brackets. Earlier this month, I signed 4 executive orders in keeping with my electoral promise to address unfriendly fiscal policies and multiple taxes that are stifling the business environment. These executive orders on suspension and deferred commencement of some taxes will provide the necessary buffers and headroom to businesses in manufacturing sector to continue to thrive and expand, to strengthen the manufacturing sector, increase its capacity to expand and create good paying jobs. We are going to spend 75 billion between July 2023 and March 2024. Our objective is to fund minimum of 75 enterprises with great potential to kickstart a sustainable economic growth, accelerated structural transformation, and improved productivity. Each of these 75 manufacturing enterprises will be able to access 1 billion credit at maximum of 9% per annum, with maximum of 60 months repayment for long-term loans and 12 months for working capital. Our administration recognizes the importance of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises and the informal sector as the drivers of growth. We are going to energize this important sector with 125 billion. Out of the sum, we will spend 50 billion conditional grant to 1 million nano businesses between now and March 24. Our target is to give a minimum of 50,000 each to 1,300 nano businesses owners in each of the 774 local governments across the country. Ultimately, this program will further drive financial inclusion by onboarding beneficiaries into the formal banking system. In like manner, we will fund 100,000 MSMEs and startups with 75 billion. Under this scheme, each enterprise promoter.
Like I said, I wasn't expecting you to get off your TV or your device, but I understand. Thank you for those who stayed back. I'm not trying to torture you. I wanted to pick things from what he's saying, the Lori Ross. But did you notice something? Remember that time when I was like, why are you sharing money to people when you have this economic downturn? Now, why don't you give that money to businesses? At maybe 1% or 2% interest, or no interest at all, right? So that they will be able to stay in business and even employ people. You remember that time when we do say that here? I kind of repeated that many times when they were sharing all this money. Well, Koolu has now used mouth to divide the meat. We are going to give 1 billion naira to 75 businesses. I hope they give them the 1 billion to help them and their businesses to stay in business. Because the way things are going, a lot of them will be out of business before the end of the year. And a lot of you will be out of jobs before the end of the year as well.